Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Heather, and this is going to be my week 35 pregnancy update for baby number 2. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and click that little bell for notifications. And you can also head on over to Instagram and follow me at the Gingy Pants, where you can really keep up to date on my daily stories. And yes, I am in a bathing suit because today's a really nice day and my son is napping and we've been out in the pool all day long. So I figured in the middle of nap and getting up, I'll try and squeeze in this video, and I didn't feel like finding a shirt. So sitting out in the pool today and out in the sun, it feels really good. So week 34, how big is the baby? The baby is supposedly about 19 inches long and about 5.5 pounds, which is the size of a spaghetti squash, which to me is like a normal baby. Like, look at this stomach. She's about to explode out of it already. What's happening in development? By now the baby is usually in the head down position and the hearing is fully developed. So what's basically left for development at this point is just gaining fat and plumping up for birth. How I'm feeling physically? Occasionally I get like a dull crampy pain. I don't know if it's more of like a round ligament pain or like an actual just slight, very light crampy feeling in like my lower pelvic area. I get super sharp pains in my back at night when I'm turning, because obviously I need to move. I can't stay in one position at night. So I start out on my left side, which is suggested, but I always find myself more comfortable on my right side. When I do turn to my right side, I get this sharp shooting pain in my right lower back. I guess turning from either side. Lately, when I'm laying on my right side, I feel her up in my rib, just like flopping. It's definitely uncomfortable. I cannot live without my Baobei wedge pillow right now. I've been using that really to support my belly, along with my U-shaped maternity pillow that I'm sleeping with. Sleep is just overall way more uncomfortable again. But back to how I'm feeling. Increased urination I've noticed at night. I don't know if that's because I'm really trying to drink water at the end of the day, which isn't the best thing because who wants to get up and pee all night long? But by the end of the day, I'm really sitting there and I'm realizing that I just didn't drink enough water throughout the day. So I'm like pumping myself with fluids, and then it might be why I'm up all night peeing again. Also, I'm just having that burning sensation in the middle of my belly going down. It's just that same stretching and pulling and probably somewhat tearing of the mid-abdominal muscles. They call it Diastasis recti or Diastasis recti, however you want to pronounce it. But I'm pretty sure my abdominal muscles are splitting right now. Like even now, I just want to hold my belly and kind of like hold it together. I've been having horrible heartburn at night. Like wake up and it feels like it's just pumping acid up into my throat. Like, it was so bad last night that I, in the middle of the night, looked up again, what can I do? Like, why is this happening? Pregnancy and heartburn and acid reflux. And again, they just said, make sure that you drink fluids because fluids could help dilute the acid and that feeling of that burning. You can eat saltines, you can take your Tums, and then of course limit foods that cause heartburn. But I really haven't been watching what I've been eating, and then I'm probably eating late and then going to bed, and yeah, so I'm not doing any good for myself. So I just realized that this week last pregnancy was when I got my Tdap vaccine, and realizing now that my OB never addressed this with me. I just remember that last pregnancy I was complaining about how much my arm hurt at this point, and I didn't even have it. So at this point, I'm already 36 weeks doing this 35-week update, but I think what they want is you to have it 4 weeks before your due date, at least 2 weeks before birth, so that the baby has time to get those antibodies. And honestly, I'm not trying to mess around with any kind of respiratory issues right now, especially with COVID going on. So I am going to address that as soon as possible, and I'm pretty sure my OB office is going to suggest that you get it with each pregnancy. Check with your OB office if they haven't mentioned that to you yet. Cravings, cold watermelon, cold fruits, ice cream, and then there's this San Pellegrino soda. I think I just finished one right here. It's the San Pellegrino orange and pomegranate beverage. It's actually like a soda. Nothing probably healthy about it. It's 130 calories, 33 carbs, 30 grams of sugar, but it's so good. This is like my guilty pleasure. It feels like I'm drinking a mixed drink. Like if I go sit out in the sun, I crack one of these and my husband cracks a beer and I feel like, How my body has changed this week, I'm up about 27 pounds, and I actually didn't measure around my waist. I'm really hoping that it didn't change at all. Last week I was up about 11 inches, I believe, around my waist. I really don't think that my body can expand anymore without completely just ripping. So I don't really know. I'll update you guys on my waist measurement next week. How I'm feeling emotionally, pretty much just anxious. I'm anxious about not knowing when I'm gonna give birth because, I don't know, I just keep thinking about the scheduled C-section and how awesome it was to just know. Even though when I was having the scheduled C-section, I still had the fear of going into labor before and then what would happen. But at this point, I just feel like I have these urges of just like thoughts of, okay, I'm gonna go 2 weeks early. It's either in my head, I feel like I'm gonna go at 38 weeks, or I'm gonna just completely be super late, and then I don't know what's the possibilities from there on. I just hope that I do go into labor naturally, and the more I think about it, the more I want it, and I just hope I don't get myself all worked up for this and then it doesn't happen. But I'm staying positive and hoping for a VBAC still. Things we did this week, I thought about getting my hospital bag together. It didn't work out. That's just me procrastinating again. But what I did do is place an order online, and I was able to order some things that I plan on putting in my hospital bag, like, you know, breast leaking pads, the disposable ones, because they are just awesome. And your milk doesn't come in until like day 3 anyway, so I don't think I'll really need them, but just to throw a couple in there. And then obviously pads for myself, like the really thick pads, some Depends for bleeding postpartum, nursing bras, and I think that's it, like things that I ordered. I went into my old bin of maternity nursing stuff and I brought out a few nursing bras, postpartum nightgowns and stuff like that, so I washed that. Just little things that I have on my list for my hospital bag. And I will be actually following my hospital bag list from my first pregnancy because everything that we brought was basically used, and I don't think that there was really anything that I hated that I brought or that took up too much space. And I am hoping to record a what's in my hospital bag so that you guys can get an idea of what I feel is necessary, especially with this being baby number 2. So the last thing I did was I called in to activate my actual disability for starting. They told me for some reason not to call in until it actually started. So I did that, and that's just the last thing checked off my list. I can't call in for bonding time until the baby's actually born because I have to submit a birth certificate with that. What's comforting to me, just sleeping, laying on my side with my belly supported. That's always going to be comfortable to me because as I'm walking around, I just get more and more exhausted and my belly feels heavier and it just feels tighter and more pulled. And again, and I'll probably mention this every week until delivery, but my Baobei maternity band is my lifesaver. That is my all-time comfort. Probably midway through the day, sometimes even before I can make it to lunch, I am already throwing it on. I literally believe in it so much, and I don't think I could live without it right now. I have it linked below if you guys want to check it out. If this is your second pregnancy or your first pregnancy is just getting too heavy, literally, it's not too late to get it. I think that I might actually wear it during labor and delivery. I don't know. It just, to me, it seems like a good idea right now, and it actually could be used to keep on the monitors that they use at the hospital to monitor the baby, because they give you a belly, somewhat of a belly band anyway. But I love my belly band. It's my all-time comforting thing right now. And last couple things that are comforting is just, you know, feeling her move and then taking warm showers. Thoughts and questions I have, just thoughts about VBACing and everything that comes with it. I talked to my one friend more about it, and she just gave me suggestions of things to bring on labor and to soften your cervix. And I'm actually it gets me like kind of anxious thinking about that. I really want to get my hospital bag together, because not that what I'm gonna do is gonna throw me into labor, but what if? Like, I always have that thought in the back of my head, like, what if I do something that actually does put me into labor? And I do get lucky like that. Like, I just want to have my hospital bag together just so I can grab it and go, and we don't have to frantically be running around if or when something happens. But things like walking and doing exercises, sitting on the yoga ball, like rolling your hips and doing hip opener exercises, eating, I think it's eating, not prunes, eating something. And then drinking some sort of tea. I think it's like a raspberry leaf tea. Oh, it's eating dates. I am going to just read you guys a couple of things that I jotted down about my VBAC research. So one main thing that I've come across is a lot of people are saying to really look into hypnobirthing. And I think I mentioned that in my last video. I don't think that I have time to actually dive into hypnobirthing completely and the whole meditation part of it and all that. But I am planning on taking small bits and pieces of things that I can just kind of adapt and put into my own way. I know that some of you are probably going to comment and say that I should really take the time to do the hypnobirthing, but I don't have the time. But some things that I've come across, so it says stress and pain causes your muscles to tighten up. So when in labor, this causes your uterus to tense up, increasing the amount of pain you are feeling. So if you can try and stay stress-free, it will help with staying pain-free. It's all mental. Is staying calm causes you to produce more endorphins, lifting your mood and helping you to feel less pain. Another abbreviation I came across is FTP. So that is when we fear something, we tense up and we get loads of adrenaline, which results in pain. So FTP, fear, tension, pain. It also says adrenaline and fear can stop the blood flow to the uterus, and that can cause a lot of pain. So basically the whole thing with the hypnobirthing is trying to keep yourself under control, trying not to stress yourself out, which in turn will hopefully lessen your pain. And that's why people say like that meditative state, putting earphones in, listening to the meditation and all of that. Other notes that I've gathered is staying calm also equals oxytocin to be released, which you can do that by practicing breathing and pain techniques and then listening to your meditation soundtracks. Fear causes tension, which shuts off your body's natural pain relief hormones. Your body tenses its muscles, which include your cervix and your uterus. Blood supply and oxygenation then slows, which can cause failure to progress or regression, or equal the baby to become in distress, and then other intervention to be done. To me, that all makes sense, and I feel like for me planning for my VBAC, gathering all of this useful information, not necessarily how to birth a baby, because I feel pretty comfortable on that. I did a birthing class for my first pregnancy, which was kind of pointless because he remained breech for the entire time. But I kind of am still retaining that information, and as we progress, maybe when I make it to 37-ish, 38 weeks, I'll start to look into more of like birth positions and things like that. But to me, everything that I read kind of relates like, okay, on how to be more mental about your birth rather than physical. You don't want to like push. You want to keep your body and your mind in sync, and in turn, it will help you relieve your pain in more of a natural way, if that makes sense. If you guys have any more great just little lines like that you can jot down below, things that I can just take into consideration, I would really appreciate that. We'll see how much information I can gain to like mentally prepare myself for a VBAC. Things that I'm scared or nervous about, obviously VBACing, just having a vaginal birth, and also not going into labor. Like I'm worried about both. I feel fear, but I'm trying to control that. It's not taking over, it's just more of anxiety actually, not even fear, just anxious. Anxious to know when, what, where, how. I don't expect it to be easy, but I think it's gonna be. Like I just wanna keep putting the thoughts in my head that it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be easy, and keep myself calm and zen. But that's basically it for week 35's update. I tried to keep it short and sweet this week. Hopefully I did a good job with that. I'll see when I'm editing. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click the little bell for notifications, and give me a follow over on Instagram at the Gingy Pants, and let's take a look at how my bump is progressing. Can you see it? You can like see it as I'm sitting down, right? Like she's just, especially when I'm sitting, like she's sitting on my lap just being like, hey mom. All right, let's take a look at how my bump is progressing. Right, so this is my belly for week 35, day 1 of week 36. Getting more and more uncomfortable in this area, but I'm ready.